Hello team and welcome back to the channel. So today is day 7 of our 30 days of GitLab series. But before that, I hope everyone has been consistent with the ongoing series. Everyone has been practicing constantly. So make sure to do that. Make sure to post it on LinkedIn also. Trust me, you'll get a lot of exposure by showcasing your learning in the public, right? So make sure to post every day whatever you have implemented, whatever you have learned. Make sure to do that. Make sure to tag me as well so that I can also help you with the reach, right? And as I have discussed in the first day also that top 3 people who are actually been consistent with the series will be given a surprise gift. So make sure to do that. Now coming to today's session. So today we'll be covering wikis and documentation in GitLab, right? In this session, there will be total 5 parts which we'll be covering. First, we are going to understand what exactly a good documentation for your project looks like. We are going to understand about GitLab Wiki, what exactly it is. Then we are going to understand about Markdown. Then we are going to understand about architecture documentation, and finally we are going to see everything practically so that we can understand things in much better way, right? So make sure to follow the series till end, because again if you miss out any of the things, then you'll be missing a lot of things from the video. So make sure to follow the video till end. Now with that being said, let's get started. So team, starting with the part 1 where we are going to understand what a good documentation actually look like, right? So before you get started with the GitLab, this is one of the very important topic that you should know properly. So let us understand what exactly a bad documentation looks like. First of all, in bad documentation, there will be random notes, right? In bad documentation, there won't be any kind of proper structure. There will be lot of missing steps also. You can understand if you are working with a project, you need to make sure that you are documenting it properly so that anyone who's working afterwards, you should be able to understand everything, how this project works, how exactly to run this project and everything, right? When we talk about a good documentation, first of all, the most important part, it will be properly structured. Everything will be mentioned step by step in proper order, right? And what are the main things that will be covering? It will be covering the setup of the project, the usage of the project, and the actual troubleshooting, right? So when we talk about in real world scenarios, like what every project should be covering in their documentation, so there are 5 core things that we need to make sure that has been covered by any kind of documentation. First, what exactly that is, that like what kind of project it is, how to set it up, how to run it, how exactly that project works, and what exactly to do when the project breaks. That means key troubleshooting, right? So these are the core factors that you should know while setting up a documentation for any kind of project in your GitLab. Second part that we have to understand is basically GitLab Wiki. What exactly is GitLab Wiki? So let us understand this as well. So in part 2, GitLab Wiki. What exactly is GitLab Wiki? First of all, in simple words, if I try to explain you, a GitLab Wiki is a separate Git repository for documentation. It's a separate Git repository for documentation. That means it is going to have the GitLab Wiki is going to have commits. It's going to have proper history of whatever thing has been added to it, and it will be version controlled, right? So you can understand it. You might be thinking, Aditya, it is a little bit different than a readme file, because in general when we for example, if you are working with GitHub, so inside GitHub, whenever we want to add any kind of documentation steps for the project, we define this using Markdown format inside readme file. So why we are not using the same thing for GitLab? So let me tell you the main reason why we are not using readme. Instead, we are using a separate Git repository for the whole documentation. Okay. Because first of all, when we talk about readme for large projects, it's going to be very messy. In case of see, for small projects, readme is fine because you have to add very small number of things, very small set of things. But when it comes to like large number of projects, it becomes very messy. So for bigger projects, it will become very messy, right? But when we talk about GitLab Wiki, when we talk about GitLab Wiki, what kind of things it allows? So first of all, it will be allowing you to create multiple pages. You can understand if you have a very huge microservice project with so many different components, let's say including infrastructure piece of code as well. So for that we need to have multiple pages so that we can properly keep everything separate, right? Plus it allows properly structured navigation. That means you can go to different pages properly because they will be in proper order, right? And one of the most important feature that wikis allow, it is the team collaboration. That means multiple people who are part of team can work on the documentation properly. So in simple words, we can summarize this GitLab Wiki as, for the code, the code is actually going to be a Git repo, while the docs is going to be Wiki repo, right? Now, this was part 2. Talking about part 3, so in part 3 we'll be covering Markdown language, right? So what exactly is Markdown? So basically it's a specifically, in simple words we can say that it's our documentation language. Okay, right. So now let us understand like how exactly this Markdown will be utilized. So let us go beyond the basics, right? So first part will be headers in our document, where we have to, which is going to help us structure our document properly. That will be first. Okay, so let us understand a little bit about headers as well. So inside your project documentation page, in header section there should be multiple things that is like mandatory to be added. First of all, there should be project name, overview, setup, architecture, and troubleshooting. These are the core headers that we'll be having in our documentation, right? Talking about code blocks, how do we write code? So depending on what kind of code you are having, depending on that you can write. For example, second section we have code blocks, right? So in code blocks, like how exactly do we have to write the piece of code? So if I show you an example, let us say that we have Docker, which we need to add in proper format. So I can add it using Docker in bash format. In this format you can write, and this will make sure that these two lines of code, it will be written in bash. Okay, so it will be like properly written in different format. It will be visible that it's a bash piece of code, or it's a piece of code. Okay, then we have how do we highlight the important notes, because in your documentation obviously there will be many sections where those are the important notes. So the way that you can actually write it so that it's visible clearly is going to be, this is the proper format with the emoji as well, right? So that should be there in the documentation. Next thing that should be there is the step by step instructions. Step by step instructions. Okay, for example, like first we need to write the project should be, sorry, first we need to write the project should be cloned, right? Second we need to write let us build the Docker image. Third we are going to write run the container. So this will be like the headings inside which we can write the steps, but it should be step by step. First this should be done, after that this should be done, right? Those things should be written. The next thing that you need to know that should be added, which helps everyone to understand documentation easily, is the tables. Okay, so if you are adding tables, it helps to understand things in much better way. So tables should also be added in your documentation because it provides information. Like let's say we have service port description. So for example, like I need to define for which service which port should be opened. So the best way to write it is the tables, because it takes very less space, plus it is very accurate and concise, so it's very easier to understand as well. For example, for our app works on 5000 ports, so we'll write it. Description is like the backend. We are using nginx. Port should be that must be open 80, which will be for web server. Okay, so this is the markdown format which we'll be using. So now let us understand the architecture documentation, which is our part 4. So let us understand that in a little bit detail. So team, next thing we have, which is part 4, where we are going to understand about architecture documentation, and you can understand that this is one of the most important part for your documentation of the project, because it is actually going to show you the components of the project. It's going to show you the flow of data, and it's going to show you the system architecture, right? For example, let's say we have proper project, so we have to make sure we have a flow mentioned inside the documentation, something like this. User goes to Nginx, Nginx is going to connect to backend, and then it goes and connect to database, right? Question is, why exactly does it matter to add diagrams in your documentation? Because without diagram, first of all, it will be very hard to understand the system, understand the whole project system. With a diagram, immediate clarity is there, right? Which tools we can use to create the diagram? First tools, which is most common and one of the most widely used, dra.io you could use. You could use Excalibur, and obviously you can use PowerPoint also. But at this point, you can highly recommend or highly utilize the different AI platforms, which will be really useful to create the diagrammatic structure. So now let us start with a hands-on part. So team, now let us start practically to understand things in much better way. So first thing you have to do, you have to go to the project. So currently we are on this project. Next thing you have to go to, we are already on the project level. So go to plan, then click on wiki. From here we can create the pages. So we'll click on first create the page. Okay. Here title of the page will be, here we can put that, this, and the content we are going to write it in a markdown format. So we will write it here. This is the first level of project structure content. Okay. So we will click on create page. So let's wait for it. Right. This is created. Then click on view all pages, and now click on new page. Here, this time we are going to now create setup guide. Create the title here, and in setup guide, you can put the contents. All these things will be shared in documentation, so you can refer them. So we will create this page as well. After setup guide, we are going to create the deployment guide. Okay, so let us click on wiki and let us create the page, new page. Title will be deployment guide, and deployment guide also we are going to be using markdown format. Okay, and then create the page. Step 5 will be for creating the architecture page. So let us create that. I'll create another page. This will be architecture guide. Provide the content of it. See, very basic level of it I am creating. Next thing is like creating the architecture diagram. That is optional, but for us, one second, let me go back to the wiki. We'll create new page. Okay, and here again I'm not going in very detail because we are creating just basic pages for understanding. So let's say I want to create a basic diagram. So in basic diagram you can create something like this, but if you want a professional ones, you can write it in this format. Okay, or you could also integrate like PNG. You can drag and drop a PNG here. Okay, so that option is also available. For now I'll just go with create page diagram. Okay, let us create next page, which is going to be troubleshooting page. Title will be this, and content we can put using markdown format. Okay, so this is something that we have added. So team, basically we have created a documentation on wiki pages. Next thing we want to do, we'll go back to repository, and inside the repository we are going to create a readme file. So we'll click here, click on new file, and this will be a readme.md file, right? So inside readme file we are going to add the section as like this. Okay, once we have added, basically next thing what we have to do, or basically this we can remove. Okay, so what we want, we want to basically provide a link for our wiki pages, right? So what I'll do, I'll first open wiki in different page, and here in order to provide the link to the wiki page, you can write it in this format, in a specific format. Basically we have to write here, we are going to write wiki, and after that in this bracket, so maybe we have some option to directly share. We can copy this, we can paste it here. Okay, so once you have done, just click on commit changes. Okay, we are already having a file with the same name, so let me do one thing. I'll go to the repository and I will modify the existing file. I click on edit, I can add it here. Okay, so let us commit these changes, and let us go to readme.md file on the repository. Okay, so here, in addition to whatever things we have already created, this is the main part that we just added it now. So we can click on it and let us see if it is pointing us to wiki pages. So yeah, that is working fine. Few things you need to understand a little bit more. Let me explain it quickly. So basically version control understanding you need to understand now. Okay, so basically, you know, you need to understand this key. Every wiki change, it's going to create a commit. Changes can be reverted, and every wiki has the proper history. Okay, these things you should know. So as of now, what we have understood, one thing it should be very clear that we did today, which if I try to show you properly, see, in the readme file this format is there, but again, like, it will become very big if you have a very complex project, and it won't be very good. But if you are using a wiki pages, you can create separate pages for every kind of task. Okay, so it's better option to go with, in case of like complex and bigger projects, it's better option to go with wiki pages. Talking about what we have learned today, so first we understood we have to create structured documentation, setup guide should be there, deployment instructions should be there, architecture diagram should be there, and a troubleshooting guide could be there. So basically whenever you create a proper documentation for any project, these are the things that should be there, right? So yeah, make sure to implement this guys, and make sure to post it on LinkedIn, right? So yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day everyone.